Still on the President's historic visit to the UK, let's bring in Ruth Aguele, who has a guest and standby for an expert analysis on the prospects of the improved UK-Nigeria relations. Ruth, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Jide. A lot, of course, has played out. We've been following developments since yesterday, and today, of course, we saw deals signed, that will be beneficial to both nations. So I have a guest here in the studio, Professor Imam Mukhtar, and of course he is a professor of international relations and director and staff at the National Institute of Security Studies. Prof, it's good to have you again.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Great. So we saw the record-breaking £70 million, contract for British Steel, which is as a result of the £236 million of the overall, investment in British companies. That was the outstanding deal, talking about the steel contract.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It is a deal that will bring, significant growth to the Nigerian steel ecosystem. And of course, as Trump has said, any country that is serious about growth without steel is not a serious country. So it speaks to the volume of regard that the United Kingdom has for the growth of the Nigerian economy in general. And of course, the very strategic, role of steel. And so these are the sort of deals we should be seeing to bring about the betterment, upliftment of our people.
And investment trickle down, we saw for education, other investment in the area of security, maritime. It's a lot going by what has been anchored in the past, talking about the UK-British relations. If you look at the trade value for Nigeria between Nigeria and UK and the trickling result we're going to be seeing going by what has played out today. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be very significant. And, it's appointed to the reality that the Nigerian market is one that is taken seriously out there. It's appointed to the fact that the current administration is open for business and serious about it, and is carrying that to the rest of the world, starting with the UK, which of course is the second largest economy in Europe. So you see these multi-sectoral deals that we're currently witnessing, particularly the deal with regards to the expansion of the maritime sector, speaking of Tinkan Island and on a port. Those are very significant milestones because it will not just trickle down, but then ensure that the every cadre of the workforce, skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, tap into and benefit significantly from that. So
soft power diplomacy has been mentioned a lot, and diplomacy is very crucial for visits like this. If you want development being seen, going by what has played out. Soft power diplomacy in the aspect of the First Lady's angle, and also the migration partnership, investment in the aspect of other areas that were real development for the country. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The visit of the First Lady alongside the President is very significant. It is one that is deeply rooted in diplomacy because wherever you're having conversations around engagements between countries, that angle of the persuasion coming from the feminine posture is very, very key. And of course, in diplomacy, posturing and gesturing are things that are crucial. So I see, returns coming through engagements from the angle of the First Lady, because she's obviously going to be meeting with captains of industry. She's going industries rather. She's going to be meeting with,
which must have been done.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, it's a continuation.
Yes.
You see, these engagements don't just start and end one stop.
Exactly.
There are things that are ongoing. Even the deals that have been signed, MOUs and so on and so forth, you require the bureaucratic angle to ensure that it gets going, because the signing is the beginning of the work.
Which brings me to prospects. A lot of expectations, stakes are high, especially when you look at the monies going into this kind of huge investment we're getting. What are the prospects? What do you foresee and envisage for Nigeria?
Well, deals have been signed. Let's see money trickling in. Of course, the prospects are very high. We envisage that these monies coming into the country will help to first address our debt profile. And then, of course, Forex is something that we need so much at this time.
And
because
without investment for fintech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Without that, there's absolutely no way you're going to have the manufacturing sector grow. And these are the aspects that we need at this point in time, because it's an entire value chain we're trying to explore here. Without manufacture, we're just going to be at the bottom of the ladder, where we see ourselves exporting raw material, and that's not very good for us.
And export for Nigeria is the go-to right now,
especially
when we're strengthening all loose ends.
Yeah.
But very crucial is the diaspora engagement. We saw that happen, and even before this visit, we saw King Charles III had a engagement with diasporans there. It says a lot about the bridging the gaps for skills development, having diasporans come back and, of course, fill these gaps.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one aspect that is very dear to me and should be to all of Nigerians, because where you do not export skills, where you cannot bring your skills to the conversation around how to grow and develop yourself, it becomes problematic, because you're going to continue to be at the bottom of the food chain. Ensuring that we see that our diasporans are involved in all sectors, especially given that we are now in that phase where the local content or the Nigerian content, has been very helpful. We should see a lot more in that regard.
And even cultural exchange was not left out. We saw the whole glamour represented, and of course the creativity, the exchange of the creativity. And very important is the bilateral talks on nation building for both countries, peace building.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I want to thank you, Prof. I know there's a lot you want to share with us, but thank you so much for helping us dissect this issue. Thank you very much. Professor Mukhtar Imam, of course, is a professor of international relations and director and staff of the National Institute of Security Studies. And that's it from here. Olajide, I'm sure you follow developments. What are your expectations going by what has played out for Nigeria and UK?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ruth. The federal government equally signed an MOU to establish a university, a Coventry University in Nigeria. So I'm going to gear up to be part of the first intake of the university. Many thanks, Ruth.